Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see so many faces. I know that Corrine and Casey both let me know that they will not be able to come to me. So we have a quorum, but not everybody. Are there any added agenda items? No. So we will move on to accommodations.
Yes. So we have our Crystal Apple Award recipients and their families with us today. Dave Mosier has been able to attend, I believe, his daughter's at high school graduation tonight. So we're certainly happy for him and his family. The Crystal Apple Award is a quarterly recognition to one of our staff members from each school. It is in partnership with Horace Mann and Dave Mosier. Nominees can be any staff member, certified or non-certified, and they demonstrate through their actions supportive and caring relationships. They help build a positive and compassionate school climate. They encourage a love for learning and encourage the process for student success, both academically and socially. They challenge students to reach high expectations and demonstrate a collaborative approach to teaching and learning. So with that, we're going to start with Broadbrook, and I believe it's Mr. Ryan who's going to introduce us to our Broadbrook recipient.
Come on up, everyone. It's two pieces.
Okay.
No, we have to always make sure we say that.
Okay.
So I'd like to introduce Emily Swanson, who is one of our brand new pre-K teachers. But she has definitely made her mark right away here at Broadbrook. I would like to read one of the nominations for her. I would like to nominate Emily Swanson for the Crystal Apple Award. Emily has been a phenomenal addition to the Broadbrook school team and pre-K program. As a first-year teacher, she has successfully taken on many challenges while creating a well-managed, engaging, and supportive classroom environment. Ms. Swanson consistently goes above and beyond for her students. She not only makes learning fun and engaging automatically, but she also creates a classroom where every student feels safe, valued, and supported emotionally and socially. Her caring and compassionate approach helps students build confidence while encouraging a love for learning and personal growth. Emily has developed strong and positive relationships with both her students and her families, always making everyone feel heard, included, and respected. She demonstrates professionalism, collaboration, and kindness throughout the school community, whether she's supporting students in the hallway or assisting fellow staff members whenever needed. Through her dedication and high expectations, Ms. Swanson has helped her students achieve tremendous growth academically, emotionally, socially, and behaviorally. She is truly a wonderful addition to Broadbrook School, and we are incredibly grateful to have her as part of our team.
We have Mrs. Deitch for middle school.
Yes, so we are going to Mrs. Gadori. She is our district literacy humanities coach. She does it all. Wears a bunch of hats, but I do have Ms. Schmiel and Mr. Richard who actually are going to present.
Yeah, I had a really great presentation for you. As I was driving over here, I was practicing it. It sounded fantastic. I was shooting from the hip. There was even music playing in the background. The windows were down, and everyone was really, well, I was enjoying it.
All right, so I'm here.
I don't have that one, so I'm going to read from the script. It is with highest admiration, respect, and appreciation that we, the 7th grade team, nominate Kathy Gadori for the Crystal Apple Award in recognition of her exceptional dedication, leadership, and commitment to excellence in education. Kathy's passion for teaching and unwavering support of our students and our colleagues has had a profound and lasting impact on our school community over the years. Wearing many hats and filling many roles throughout the day, Kathy has been seen working with students and staff. Yet somehow she still makes herself available to anyone who asks. Through her kindness, and professionalism. Kathy is approachable and has an ability to actively listen to figure out how to best support you. Regardless of what has going on, Kathy is tireless in her efforts to provide support for instruction, assessments, MTSS, cafeteria duty, and the list could go on. She continually inspires those around her to learn, grow, and achieve her best as she sets the standard and example through her own studies to gather more knowledge to share with others. Kathy exemplifies the qualities of an outstanding educator, demonstrating compassion, kindness, and a genuine commitment to helping every student succeed in guiding and supporting teachers in all content areas. This year in particular, Kathy has gone above and beyond her duties in the absence of her coaching partner, Holly. She has taken on many of the responsibilities of Holly's position without hesitation. She always has the best interest of both students and staff. Kathy's positive influence reaches far beyond the classroom and serves as a model for excellence in education. I remember when Kathy began working in the East Windsor Middle School, immediately I knew she was someone I wanted in my corner. I immediately began to seek her out for support, knowing she was well-informed and knew her stuff. She has always given me support, guidance, and direction when I have needed it. Kathy is always calm, never judging, and always recognizes the position the teacher is in when guiding, directing, and supporting staff from different areas of instruction. Please recognize Kathy as our next Crystal Apple Award recipient, as she truly embodies the spirit of the Crystal Apple Award.
This is Kaminsky for high school.
I would like to call up Mr. Brian Maltesi. It's pretty excited about your sneakers, good school colors. There we go. 2 pieces. 2 hands.
2 pieces, all
2
right.
hands, 2 pieces. And I will read his write-up. It is with great enthusiasm that I nominate Brian Maltesi for the Crystal Apple Award. Since rejoining our school community 2 years ago, Brian has made a significant and lasting impact on both students and staff through his dedication, adaptability, and genuine commitment to student success. Brian has an exceptional ability to build authentic rapport with students, creating a classroom environment that is welcoming, safe, and supportive. He knows his students well, their strengths, challenges, personalities, and learning needs, and uses that knowledge to support them both academically and personally. He's often one of the first to notice a subtle shift in a student's behavior that might signal a larger concern, and he consistently brings those observations to the team so that support can be put in place quickly and thoughtfully. One of Brian's greatest strengths is the way he brings humor into the classroom, creating an atmosphere where learning feels approachable and enjoyable. His personality allows students to relax, engage, and take risks in their learning. There's a natural energy in his classroom that helps students feel comfortable while still maintaining strong expectations. He understands that meaningful relationships and a positive climate are essential to student growth, and he uses humor intentionally to make learning both productive and fun. What truly sets Brian apart is his willingness to always try. Regardless of the initiative, strategy, or new expectation, Brian approaches it with openness and professionalism. He gives 100% consistently and implements with fidelity. He is a learner at heart. He seeks to understand new tools and approaches fully, asks thoughtful questions, develops expertise, and then creates systems and structures that best support student success. Over the past 2 years, Brian has shown continued growth in his instructional practice, and that growth is reflected in his students' outcomes. His students consistently demonstrate measurable growth in their mathematical abilities, with 9th grade math performance under his instruction outperforming the state, an impressive accomplishment. He is skilled at adapting lessons to meet students where they are, while also pushing their thinking and challenging them to deepen their understanding. His ability to differentiate instruction and respond to student needs has been a key factor in that success. Brian is also a tremendous asset to our staff. He brings a unique perspective to conversations, contributes thoughtful ideas, and consistently approaches challenges with a positive attitude and humor that strengthen team morale. As a member of the 9th grade team, he is collaborative, dependable, and deeply committed to our collective work. His passion, resilience, and sense of humor make him someone both students and colleagues value greatly. Brian Maltese exemplifies the spirit of the Crystal Apple Award through his care for students, commitment to excellence, collaborative mindset, and positive impact on our school community. We are incredibly fortunate to have him, and he's highly deserving of this recognition. Congratulations.
I just want to add, I've known Kathy for, I want to say probably 15 years, and she's always been top notch. I've known Brian since I've been in district, I think now 23 years. I can always say he's always kids first, and I don't know anyone that has as much as East Windsor pride as he does. And Emily, just starting to get to know you, but you are a testament of the talent, new talent we want to continue to recruit to East Windsor. So certainly we are very blessed to have all three represent us today.
That's congratulations. Thank you.
Yes.
This is a great way to start the day. The evenings. So you're welcome to stay and watch our meeting and but we absolutely understand if you want to go home and do something other than that. Oh, Brian, you didn't have to be the first one to pick it up.
Oh,
On your way out, though, we do want to get your picture from the photographer. I forgot to mention that. So before you try to run out too quickly. Be careful with the grain.
So I didn't want to say with all those people in the room that you'll notice on our agenda that we only have one public participation because it seems like we never have public here and we had our room full. So I thought it's kind of not appropriate for me to say it there. We have one at the end of the meeting and I felt that, it just it clutters the agenda. If we need a one at the beginning of the meeting, if we see there's somebody, we can add one. Or we can move up the one that's in, but we never have used the public participation that I know. I can share. Yeah, Paul Anderson. Yeah, right.
Once at a 5 years.
So the reason for the early one is for them to tell us something that they want us to work on. The one at the end is if they've seen something at the meeting and they were waiting to comment after we made a decision or something. It can be a sort of variable thing. We can move it around if we need to. So it's onto the minutes. There any discussion on the minutes or can we just approve them? Make a motion to approve the May 22nd, 27th regular meetings minutes for education. For a second? Seconded by Courtney. Any discussion, additions, corrections? All those in favor? Opposed? And it's. We don't have our. Oh, you are here. So, this is your last meeting with us.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm David. We love having you here. The student rep is just a really cool thing. And for you to been, you have been steady here all the time. I think you missed one for a track meet or something.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for the time that you've spent with us and we appreciate you.
Thank you for letting me come.
So it's on to your report.
All right. Around with the Broadwick Elementary School, they recently hosted a hands-on meet the instrument nights for third grade students. These evenings allowed students to explore and try out various instruments firsthand, helping them officially sign up for the band program starting this fall. Congratulations to our fourth grade students for a successful spring concert held at East Windsor High School on May 19th, demonstrating dedication, hard work, and musical progression over the past year. The students showcased exactly how much they have grown with the performance of Ode to Joy. To ensure a smooth and confident transition into fifth grade, our fourth graders took part in a visit to East Windsor Middle School. This opportunity allowed students to explore their upcoming environment, ease any end-of-year anxieties, and build anticipation for fifth grade.
Highlighting our commitment to the real-world educational experiences, a selected group of students participated in a specialized STEM field trip to a Hartford athletic event. This opportunity allowed students to see other students' STEM projects across the state and enjoy a Hartford athletics game. Fourth graders took a field trip to the Connecticut Old State House. This experience connects their social studies curriculum, allowing students to explore local history and foundations of civic thinking firsthand. This field trip was provided entirely free of charge to the district through a generous state grant supplemented with funding from PTO. On to the middle school. It's been a busy and exciting time at East Windsor Middle School. We were delighted to welcome the Broadbrook Elementary School fourth grade students for a visit to experience middle school life firsthand. On May 28th, we also hosted a successful fourth grade parent night to help families learn more about the transition to middle school. We are excited to welcome our newest students to East Windsor Middle School next year. On May 19th, our fifth and sixth grade students showcased their musical talents during the spring concert. Their hard work, dedication, and enthusiasm were evident throughout the performance, and they did a fantastic job. We are incredibly proud of all of our student musicians for their outstanding efforts. On May 28th, East Windsor Middle School 7th and 8th grade band and choir students participated in the Fantastic Festivals adjudication event. Students had the opportunity to perform for collegiate level adjudicators and take part in interactive clinics designed to strengthen their musical skills and performance techniques. Their hard work and dedication were recognized for outstanding results. Middle school band, gold rating, middle school choir, platinum rating, highest honor awarded at the festival. To celebrate their achievements and recognize their commitment, perseverance, and teamwork, our middle school music students enjoyed a fun-filled day at Six Flags New England. Congratulations to all our student musicians and these remarkable accomplishments. Thank you for representing East Windsor Middle School with such pride, dedication, and excellence. For East Windsor High School. On Wednesday, May 26th, the East Windsor High School softball team hosted Windsor Locks for a special Stronger Than Cancer game in support of our senior, Gabby Guzzi. After recently completing her chemotherapy treatments, Gabby was proudly declared cancer-free, making the night even more meaningful for everyone involved. Both teams came to celebrate Gabby's strength, support an important cause, and create an unforgettable evening. We are incredibly grateful for the amazing turnout and the overwhelming support that helped make our fundraiser such a success. Thank you to everyone who stayed and cheered us on, even through the downpour. Your support was another reminder of how strong and caring our community truly is. Gabby is a diligent student who is not afraid of a challenge and never hides her Panther pride. As a true reflection of our portrait of a graduate, Gabby exemplifies what it means to be a lifelong learner, a dedicated self-advocate, and responsible citizen, and everything she does.
I want to give Tim one more thing to report on because it'll take one thing off my list later, Tim. But you had your senior graduation walk today. You want to share that with the board?
It was fun. I got to go back through all my schools and walk through, and I got to see all the different grades and all the kids, and they all stood on the hallways and cheered us on, and some of them had signs, and it was very nice to go back to my old school.
Now, what you start at elementary and then work your way up to?
I think we went middle school first and then went to school.
Yeah, so we have video of that too, so we'll be posting that at some point. But that was a tradition started out last year, so you're the second class. Oh, well. But yeah, I was here.
Did the pre-K kids walk too?
The kindergartners.
Kindergartens walk behind them with their books. Yep. Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, so we'll have some video to share later on. with the
Very
board.
cool.
And remind us what your plans are for next year.
I'm going to Springfield College, and I'm going in their doctorate program for physical therapy, so it's a 6-year.
That's.
Welcome. Good luck. Break a leg. See you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations. So next is our upcoming meetings. The June 10th Board of Finance meeting was canceled, correct? That's tonight, wasn't it moved to the 15th?
Yeah, correct. So there was a little confusion because
They
If
usually,
you were at the meeting, it said they were going to have it on the 15th, but when we called, they told us it was on the 10th, and then they did do a cancellation and then reposted it for the one day.
they usually do it the day after the referendum, but I think maybe they had a feeling they knew what was gonna happen and need the time to figure out what they're doing now.
They moved their entire meeting. Their meeting that would be next Wednesday, the 17th, is now being held on the 15th.
Okay. So there's no meeting on the
There's
17th.
no meeting on the
Okay.
17th. I think. That's what I understand.
So, you'll know that you're invited to the graduation tomorrow. You're coming. And we have the schools, review in of the year by all of the schools, which is always really interesting. So, where's yours?
So we'll start with, Brockton.
You're gonna pass it on, yeah. Who's first? The magic wand. No.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Alex is trusting us with her handy dandy remote control. Hi, good evening. Proud to present our Broadbrook School Year in Review. It works, excellent, okay. So as you know, everything we do at Broadbrook School in East Windsor is focused on our strategic plan and our portrait of the graduate, looking at high quality instruction, robust systems, and making sure that all of our students are reaching the benchmarks they need to reach to be able to graduate as citizens. So next we're going to go to student data.
In literacy, our iReady data shows a positive trajectory. 70% of our students are reading at or above benchmark. We've been really working hard in our data-driven decision-making and our targeted tier 2 interventions, which we saw dramatic movement through. We have significantly increased the number of students who are at or above benchmark because of this. You can also see here in our bar graphs, the positive trend continuing to move forward. You can see that all of our trends, especially for this year, are moving upward in the area of reading on iReady for the benchmarks.
Can I ask a question on that last slide?
We have to go backwards. Yes.
So is it by cohort? So are like the grade 3, that's all of grade 3 for all of those years? Or
Yes.
is it traveling with them like it was last year's second graders, or no, it's just third grade?
So this is as the 2022's third grade, 2023, 24, 25. I mean, if we,
Yeah, you would have to do a whole lot of.
yeah,
Okay. I just want to make sure.
yeah.
Daryl can do that for me. No,
There you go.
I'm joking. Thank you.
You're welcome. PBS is also making, oh, no, I had it backwards. I'm sorry. In our DIBELS, as we strengthen our tier 1 instruction in literacy, our tier 1 intervention is also seeing improvement in specific areas of literacy. Some of our highlights: grade 1 has made significant increases in all areas. Grades 2 through 4 have high oral reading fluency, and grades 2 through 4 have also seen an increase on the maze, which measures vocabulary and comprehension.
Can you explain what DIBELS is? I don't know what that is.
Sure. DIBELS is dynamic indicators of basic early literacy. And I know that it says it right here. But no, we've been actually using that as one of our benchmarks to be able to look at not only the iReady, but using the DIBELS, because it gives us a better idea of what students need and then what areas we need to make sure that we're continuing to fill in, especially in those tier 2 or tier 3 instruction.
Can you describe kind of like what it looks like when the teacher assesses it?
So the students will take it as especially at the younger age, as a 1-to-1. And what it's looking at are how students are able to identify either blends, especially at certain age levels,
Nonsense.
their nonsense words.
I mean,
Where start reading aloud as the teachers are assessing.
Oh,
In the kindergarten, they're doing learning and fluency.
wow.
And,
The maze is probably something you've all seen before. You have to fill in the word with something that's, you're reading and there's a blank and you're going to fill it in. So the maze is one of that. And that's a little bit more at the 2nd through 4th grade level.
Thank you.
Just like our iReady reading, our iReady math has seen improvements as well. We have seen significant number of students who have moved out of the red. Here we're seeing a very low number of students who are performing below grade level. 58% of our students are meeting benchmark, which is an increase from over the last 2 years. But one of our big things is that we are seeing less and less students who are in the red, which is falling behind in the area of math. Also, as compelling in the math is also the same thing that we're seeing in our reading for our bars. Many of our bars are continuing to go back up. We are seeing a strong implementation of our tier 1 instruction and making sure that our data-driven small group instruction allows us to meet students where they are. We are using commented form assessments. Our teachers know exactly what mathematical concepts require reteaching, and they are doing that in their small group instruction. Similar to Dibbles, Acadians is where we also can evaluate the foundational skills in early numeracy, computation, and problem solving to help us identify students who may be at risk for math difficulties. We are doing all of this through our MTSS process.
going down to our initiatives. As Matt just mentioned about MTSS, this was our first full year of implementation, and we are already seeing the profound impact that it is having on our school and on our students' growth. So we have been working on refining those systems and protocols that we created last year and looking at implementing them this year. And we had a meeting this morning in which we were talking about plans for next year of how we're going to do that continuous improvement with our MTSS systems. But as I said, the conversations that we are having around interventions, student data on a regular basis, progress monitoring that's happening, and what interventions we need to put in place has made a tremendous impact on our school this year. And we're very excited about the growth we'll continue to see next year. Structured win block, I know we've mentioned this before with our win block, but this year we took a much more structured and purposeful stance to it. So each 6 weeks, which is our intervention cycle, grade levels took a look at their data to be able to plan for small group instruction. Teams also implemented structured literacy during this time, which I'll tell you more about in a second. And also with iReady Learning, one thing we put in place this year is that all grade levels started to assign lessons in the personalized learning that were directly aligned to the reading and math units that they were teaching. So in addition to the students having that practice at their level of what they needed, they also were getting grade level practice as well. So structured literacy, Michelle Wiley, who was one of our grade 1 teachers, has completed some coursework, is now our literacy specialist. And she brought to us structured literacy, which aligns to our science and reading initiative that we've been working on now for the past couple of years. So Michelle met with each grade level K through 2, did some PB, and then did ongoing coaching throughout the year with them and helped to make sure that they were implementing those structured literacy lessons. And basically what it is that it's taking the reading, breaking it down to even smaller components based on what students need. So like here's a picture of example where students are building words and looking at the sounds that are in words. But it is all very much based on what the student need is around literacy and then providing that direct instruction. And I'm sure you all can remember when the math wizards came to visit you. This has exploded this year. So what we started doing after the initial board ed presentation is we started doing some regular assemblies, or induction ceremonies as we called them. So as students reached that level of becoming a wizard or earning a certificate, they were acknowledged. We had them all lined up in the gym, the wizards sitting there with their hats, facing their peers. It was been really awesome. Our last one is going to be on the last day of school, and we have students who are working very hard
Oh,
to get their hats for that last day of school. And next year, we're gonna have different colored hats. So like if you were a second grader and you got your master wizard, you could get a different color hat next year. So trying to incentivize them to continue working on that. But it is a huge deal around here. Building thinking classrooms. This is work that was done with one of our outside consultants who's been coming in to provide this professional development to all grade levels K through 4. And while we're focusing the implementation around right now in math, the goal is to have them utilizing these instructional strategies in all subject areas as it has students working in groups, problem solving, using a structure, and then there's an important part with synthesis and discussion at the end so that it brings the learning very clearly into focus for all the students in the class. SEL was also focused on quite a bit this year. As a district, we're going to be implementing Ruler, which is out of Yale and focuses on children being able to identify what their feelings are and what they need to do in order to be able to help regulate them. In addition, we built a staff charter that talks about how we want to treat each other as a building, and the classrooms will be doing that in the fall as well. We also had multiple professional development opportunities with Academic Leadership Association, who worked with all staff, paraprofessionals, and teachers around how to build relationships with all students, particularly those who have more challenging behaviors and they're more difficult to build those relationships with. And then we had a grant-funded after-school class. These went on from January to June. There were 4 clubs: Xylophone Club, Craft Club, Book Club, and Makers Club, all very, very popular. When we put out the sign-up sheet, they were filled within a matter of seconds. So hopefully we'll get this grant again because the students really, really enjoyed participating in these after-school clubs. We had many clamoring to try and join, but unfortunately they were full and actually even went over capacity. We were supposed to cap it at 12 and we had groups that were at 20. So they were very popular. And now just a few highlights. So again, we're partnering with our community with the Halloween safety presentations and fire safety. Vacation learning challenges continue to keep kids working over vacations. We partnered with the Springfield Thunderbirds this year. So you can see Biscuit there with his best friend from Springfield Thunderbirds and our principals of the day, which is the coveted prize. Our monthly family mileage clubs have continued to be very successful. And we added on a STEM night with one of them, which was great. So it started as the mileage club was ending. We had families who just came for STEM, but we had a lot to the mileage club and then went to STEM. And we'll be continuing a STEM night next year as well, as we saw that popularity. So Susan Raj, our grade 3 teacher, she went through the teacher residency program with the state of Connecticut to become a teacher. And they reached out about the Expect Excellence Award. And as I read the criteria, I said, this is absolutely Sophia, because she is certainly excelling as a beginning teacher in our school. And so she won the award from TRP and was even given a citation from the governor, which she was very proud about. We continue our tradition of One School, One Book with a boy called Bat. And this was a book that focused on a young boy who has autism. So it was a very nice inclusive book to be able to read as a school community. And then we had Read Across America. Our high schoolers came down to join us, which is always welcome. We always love when they come. Carol Hall also came to read a book to students on a different day. And some of our East Windsor PD came as well to help read stories to students. Theater Works, we brought them in once again. This is always a highlight as they turn our gym into a theater, and they did Magic School Bus. Aces Day. If you look very closely in your picture, you can see Biscuit dancing up there with Miss Daniele. We had a parent who was fantastic, and he donned the costume and danced it, kept right up with her. I don't know how he did it, but he did. And the musical performances, of course, we talked about with our 4th grade band and our winter concert in December. All of them were highlights for the year. Field trips continued. We said it was grade 4 and the STEM field trip that happened. And then we have something that will be coming soon outside the back of our school. The East Windsor Arts Commission reached out to us to do a bottle cap project. So it'll be Kindness Grows with some flowers. That's her mock-up of the boards. But you can see the students during lunch spent time gluing the bottle caps onto the boards. So they're very excited to see what their final project will look like. So every student in the building had a hand in building that. So that should go up sometime this summer. And we're very much looking forward to building on our successes next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're such good news. Thank you.
Is the studies are like, I noticed that like 70% of kids are at or reaching benchmark for reading. Is this like the highest that we've been at in like the recent?
For the whole school, yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, 74 for grade 3, which is awesome. Yeah.
What is the state like average for reading it? Do you know?
I don't know. Yeah.
Or Daryl, do you know what that was?
Yeah, I mean, just to clarify, that's iReady, so
Right.
that's not our state assessment. That's
Yeah.
the internal, benchmark assessment we use, highest it's been celebratory.
It's a great. I'm just excited to hear that it's going.
Yes.
Getting
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
sure, like,
No, so-
hoping that means it's gonna, continue.
That's our goal.
That's right.
But I mean, I don't want to ignore it because I do think that's.
Thank you. Thanks, Carrie.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Feeling good? All right.
Cheerleader.
There we go. All right. Fortune to graduate. So one,
I'm getting ready for this.
I am, I'm ready.
Let's go, guys.
So I just want to say my first year being a principal at East Windsor Middle, Tim was in 5th grade. So it was really nice to see him blossom as a person. We knew he was going to be great, but
Awesome.
couldn't hear that. So he's blossoming. All right. So one thing about Fortune to the Graduate, one thing we always focus on is informed lifelong learners at East Windsor Middle School. Self-aware individuals, students that can reflect, and then responsible citizens is one of the big ones we focus on. Sorry. Oh gosh.
No.
Yep, I know. I'm not used to these fancy things because we don't, all right. We use keyboards. Fancy things or not. All right. The strategic plan implementation, we use continue to create a positive learning environment. That's one thing we really focus on is at the middle school. And you're going to find out in our slideshow. All right. First is attendance, right? So we really focus on attendance because if kids aren't here, they can't learn, right? That's the big thing. So one thing is our goal this year was 95% attendance rate. We hit 94.5, which is almost a 1% increase from last year, which you can see on this graph, the darker color. I'm not really good with my colors, but it's that's where we are this year. And the other two colors were from last year and the year before. So we went up 1%. And our chronic absentee rate has dropped. Last year was about 17%. So this year we're at 15.1. And then it looked the other day and it was at 14.8. So it's very excited. So we do a lot of work with our chronic absenteeism. So students who are not coming to school, we try to talk to them why they're not coming to school. We put things in place. We put incentives in place. We have teachers checking in with them. They check out with them like, hey, so glad to see you. If they're absent, the next day, like, hey, we missed you yesterday. Really, it's really important for kids to come to school and feel that they're being missed, right? In my office too, I have a wall of students that check in every day. They highlight if they've been here 5 days in a row, they get a little prize from our prize box. Other teachers do the same thing. So we really focus on our chronic absenteeism. All right. One thing we really worked on, especially with Deirdre too, was our special ed. So last year at the middle school, it was like 33% of special ed kids were chronic absent. So one thing we implemented was that every week during our attendance meeting, we would have a grade level special ed teacher meet with us. So they would come. So for example, 1 week would be 5th grade. So the 5th grade special ed teacher would come in, then 6th grade would be the next week. And we kind of come up with plans for those special ed kids, come up with incentive plans. So we dropped a lot, right? So it's amazing. Look at that. Dropping. So, and we're already coming up with plans for next year. So we're already creating incentive plans for these students for next year. And really, the special ed teachers really jumped on board. They're bringing them up in PPTs or in our 504 students too. We bring that up like their attendance, because if they're not here, they're especially our special ed kids need the most learning, and we have amazing teachers, and we want them to get all the information from our great teachers. All right. Then one thing we implemented this year was our weekly attendance competition. So in my newsletter to our staff, I have all the attendance data for grade levels, right? So one thing we're like, all right, what can we do to really promote attendance per grade level? Because our teachers are very competitive, right? I'm a very competitive person. I try to compete against Miss Henderson all the time. And Miss Fox, we do.
Levels,
We do.
it's a
So the
competitive-
grade level wants to win, right? So we came up with this chain, attendance chain. So the grade level with the best attendance for the week gets to have that chain. So here's Miss Schmiel wearing that chain. Her, she wore it around. She wouldn't, I don't think she wanted to give it up. She was trying to leave the building with it one day. I was like, Miss Schmiel, you gotta give it back. So we recognize the grade with attendance. We celebrate it, and the kids get really excited when they see their teachers wearing the attendance chain. It was on Amazon. It was really cheap too, which was great.
I thought it looked like a paper chain.
Oh, it's like from a 3D printer. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I think
And it hangs outside the hallway and the teachers pick it up and walk
Yeah.
around and
Yeah.
the kids are like, on the chains.
yeah. Oh yeah, they're wearing it around, and it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So all right. So another one is. Oh, sorry.
We're supposed to share.
Passionate about the middle school.
Yeah, lessons on sharing and taking
So I
turns.
love the middle school. I do.
So we just had our student spring survey, and as you know, we're really working on the relationships and making sure students have a relationship with an adult in the building. Middle school is hard. There's a lot of things going on for kids, and they need to have somebody that they can go to in school. So we only had 3 students that share that they do not have an adult in the building, that they have that strong connection. So we're at 98%. It is a blind survey, so we don't know who they are, but it's like, okay, we got to get those 3 kids somehow. Who do we think is kind of missing that? So we are looking at our students trying to figure that out, but 3 out of 297, I would say 96. We're getting there. So close, but it is really important to us. We do want to make sure that all students have somebody that they can go to. And as you can see, Mr. Richard, he has an incentive. These lovely ladies got to decorate him, and dazzle his head, put a little purple dye in there as one of their incentives for, I think this one was I Ready?
Yes.
I Ready. So just, you know, even if it's something fun, but they make that connection on different levels, and they can talk to a variety of staff, from cafeteria staff to our secretaries to paraprofessionals. We have particular check-ins and check-outs if somebody's just struggling and we notice. So that is something that we are really working on and focus on. Like I said, middle school can be tough, so it's really important.
So I have a question. When you're doing, I love this, congratulations. You're not asking for specifics, which I understand, but could you ask, as you said, is it a paraprofessional? Is it the secretary?
Actually,
Nurse?
yes, and we actually do ask. We ask, who do you have the connection with?
Okay.
And then we can go through and see which ones have said, like, have chosen somebody, if they chose none. But we do know, we do have some percentages of adults that are really making some really strong connections. And that's how we know it is paraprofessionals. It is some of our cafeteria workers. It is our nurses. So it is every single staff has at least one student.
That's great. That's.
So-
And it's always too, like you see students from previous grades having that connection with the previous teacher. So they you see them at the end of the day asking to go see that teacher, and, the teacher says, yeah. So they go and check in with that teacher too. So I think that's really positive too.
So next, our Math I Ready data. We just had some really key performance highlights here. Grade 7 achieved the highest spring benchmark with 58%, reaching that proficiency. Grade 5 showed the largest increase, which was a 26% increase, which can be really difficult, right? Some of them are closing the gap, but also continuing to move forward. So it just really demonstrates the meaningful progress that they have in math, and just that significant, as you can see here, this is the reduction of students at risk. So we've gone up in achieving proficiency, but also the students at risk have gone down.
And then our reading data, so we had 2 grade levels that hit 60% or more. So our 7th and 8th grade hit in reading. So you can see right here, they started off the year in 6th grade. So what's this reading one? Oh, sorry, 6th grade, sorry. 46 to 62, and then 44 to 61. So they had a huge increase. And then 5th grade showed the largest improvement, again, going up by increasing by 30%, almost 30%. So you can see that. And again, as Linda said too, the decrease. So you're seeing those students at risk decreasing by double digits right there. So one thing we're really going to be focusing on is our students in the yellow, right? The students who are just staying, one grade level below. We're really going to put some interventions in place in math and reading. We're going to plan for next year. So for our tier 2, our teachers teach another block for those students that need that support. And then tier 3, we have our ramp room. So our teachers have done a really good job. Our ELA and math teachers have really jumped on board, and they're in their end of the year evaluations. They're talking about, hey, next year, this is what I want to do. They're really pushing because they want the students to grow, right? We want students to leave the middle school ready for high school and to be on grade level reading and doing math.
Building things in classrooms. I thought you were doing this one. So we are using this year in math. However, it is something that we are looking to expand, as Broadbrook had also said. But it really promotes that active learning. We get fidgety. We don't want to sit for an hour in one class, go to the next one's an hour in another class, right? We get tired of doing that. But this really, they get up, they're talking, they're up at these vertical boards, as they're said in BTC. And what's interesting is there's one student who will scribe. He or she is not allowed to speak. And then the other kids have to do all the talking and they have to do the writing. They will switch roles while in this. So it really supports collaboration and communication. You really have to nail it down and be precise, which goes back to vocabulary and incorporating that as well. They have to justify and explain the reasoning, because when we come back to the end, they have to have that deep understanding, because they're going to share out, right? There's going to be that synthesis at the end. And so everybody has to have that deeper understanding by the end. And it's the job of the team to make sure everybody does have that understanding. So it really is getting the kids up and moving and have a better understanding of the concepts. And research shows that really the kids learn best from one another because they can put it in different terms. So this has really supported that as well.
And I think one thing that math teachers have done a really great job is the flexible grouping. So for example, you might have a math problem, so you have a different group, and the teacher has these different programs they use to create groups real quick. So they hit a button, and then the students are getting into different groups and they're being more flexible. So especially in middle school, it's really hard sometimes not to be with your friend, right? So that's one thing strategy working is like sometimes, you're not going to be able to work with your friend. You have to be flexible. And we've seen the students really grow with that.
What is also impressive is this is something that the math teachers had PD on this year, and they just jumped in after that. I sat with them in that first PD. They're like, no, we're going to try this tomorrow. And they're like, how do we get the vertical boards up? How do we start? We want to do this. Within a week, they were trying it in their classrooms. So just something that was really impactful learning for teachers.
Another big PD we worked on this year was science and reading. We focused on vocabulary. So that was an area we felt that all classroom teachers could work on, right? Is vocabulary. So we had science and reading professional development throughout the year. So it wasn't just the teachers, right? We're talking about pairs. Our tutors also came to this PD. We had a group of teachers, our literacy committee, that met and gave PD. It started in August and went throughout all the year and ended in May. And gave teachers, things they could use the next day in their classrooms with vocabulary. Like, for example, you go through the school now in like the 7th grade hallway, they have a whole vocab wall in the hallway they've created. In our science classrooms, they have vocab tier 2 words that the teacher goes over with them. They put them in their vocab interactive student notebook. And then students in 8th grade are also using vocab. So every classroom is teaching vocabulary. And this is something we're going to continue for next year too.
Yeah. So what was really interesting is that you can see these word walls and interactive notebooks in art class. You can see them in computer science. They're using them in music class. So it is throughout the entire building where they're talking about parts of speech and different words and how you can break a word apart. And if you see this part of the word in future, how do you try to just understand using different morphology tactics. So it's been a great highlight for the students as well. Teachers are telling students, okay, now use your vocabulary words. So they're kind of making them use those words, right? So it's not just a one time we learn this word. We're going to use it. We're going to talk about it.
It's going to be in their writing. They're adding into their writing, which is key. Like in the past, they were not using these words. So, all right. So MTSS is one of the things that has really been our big driver. Is we have weekly grade level meetings, and then we have our leadership meetings. So our grade level meetings, we look at the rotation, they look at the attendance, right? they're looking at behavior data, they're looking at academics, and then they're looking like, all right, how's our meeting going? Like, what do we have to change? Is there something we, that's not working for us? Is there something in the paperwork that we need to change? And then that really pushes our MTSS leadership team and looking at our tier 2, tier 3 students, our students who are chronic absent, our students that are, just really struggling, putting interventions in place for behavior. We're doing check in, check out. And then academics is really key too, because we have this year, Mrs. Deitch actually was our lead for math. So she really did talk about the data in math with Kathy Gadori, who's here earlier. So Kathy and Linda really did talk about like intervention, what's working. And then we had students getting out of math and reading support and going back into elective class. It was really fluid this year. So it wasn't just like, all right, you have to wait to the end of the quarter or, the teachers really analyzed the data to look at, all right, they reached it where that kid's ready to leave tier 3, they're going to go tier 2. And this is the things they need. And it's really was individualized.
Okay, so another thing that we've been doing is we have a lot of the after school activities. We have the grant fund, but also we have the school clubs. Kids are creating their own clubs, so it is student based. We have the sports programs, which have been going really well. Cross country coming up in the fall, just finished up track. And August basketball in the winter. We have the student incentives like pep rallies, behavior incentives. We have the ready incentives. A lot of the grades are doing weekly incentives. I know 5th grade does it on Fridays. I think 6th grade as well. So there's just a lot of things that are going well for students for incentives. We have our advisory lessons. We have them twice a month. This is actually one of those lessons. What has been really great about our advisory lessons is our Educator Rising students who are in that program have been starting to write those lessons. So, they have a different perspective, right? So they come and they say, no, we need to work on this. So this lesson that you see here is actually a creation by our students. And the feedback from both staff and students is these lessons are the best that we've had. So they're really getting a lot of out of it. And again, those are from students from 5 through 8 helping to create those lessons. They're putting together the Smartboard lessons, the slides, and gathering materials and making sure that they have it all put together. They know what the objectives are. So they really are doing exactly what a teacher would do for a classroom lesson.
And then to incorporate student voice, we actually had some of our students from Ed Rising join our Safe School Climate to go over the survey and really help us understand why, certain questions, like why did students answer this question? So we could dive deeper into the question. So I think that was really important and parents too.
Yes. Yeah. And again, they come with that different perspective of like, well, no, we have adults that we can go to, but sometimes it feels like this. And so this is what we need to work on. And just hearing from them, and again, we're talking about 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. I don't think we had any 5th graders this year. But they just had a different perspective. And the 6th grade, hearing from the 8th graders in that meeting, we're like, okay, here we are saying, so if I try this, and just learning different strategies as well. So it was a really good opportunity for staff as well.
And again, arts, as you heard earlier, we have Miss Malloy has done a great job. Our whole school is full of artwork. So she does a great job putting all the student artwork around the building. We have so many amazing artists. And then we have our band and chorus, Torchlight Parade, our festival we just went to. Platinum was the first time they ever got platinum. So that was amazing. And Miss Stinson does believe the band should have got in platinum too, but she thought the judge was a college judge and was just grading him harder because, so she was very upset about that.
Very passionate
She's
about
very
it.
passionate and she's ready for next year and she's ready to, and then leadership development is really a big one, the student voice. So we have student council, ed leader, Ed Rising. The student voices really have come. Our student council really runs our pep rallies now. They're coming up with ideas for incentives on a monthly basis. So I think that has really helped. One thing we talked about is looking at attendance, right? So if students don't want to be here, right? So our incentives, they're working because kids come to school on those days. They want to be here on those days. So that's very positive.
Yeah, so we really are recognizing, student achievement. We have our, every grade has at least 2 award ceremonies, one in the winter, one in the fall, one in the spring, sorry. 7th grade likes to go above and beyond. They got 7, one for each quarter. But just really celebrating the student success is really important. They have to understand how much we believe in them, right? And, if you ever attended an award ceremony, you will see kids high-fiving each other as they win those awards. They're just really like congratulating each other as they're succeeding and getting those achievements. So it's really nice to see. We see all these kids up here. It's how much growth are you making? It's not necessarily your on grade level, but the work that you're putting in is recognized. The effort is being recognized. And again, the parents are proud, the staff are proud, and the students are proud. So if the students take pride in their work, we're really going to see that growth as we go forward.
Yeah, it wasn't always cool to be smart, right? So I think that has changed in the middle school. We really have pushed, like, we make honor roll. That's amazing, right? So kids are really celebrating that piece. So I think that is, and then you have the North Central Act of Kindness. We also have the Problem Solver Award, which we give out weekly. Just recognizing students for the amazing things they do at the Windsor Middle School. And then staff has grown a lot this year. Our staff has done an amazing job. So we have committees, right? We have our beautification committee that has helped us with making East Windsor Middle School look, a little more prettier. Then we have our staff engagement. So this is a new committee this year. One thing our staff engagement was, one idea we had was we wanted to have staff present more, right? Because they're going to, staff, just like kids, learn more from each other than they do from Linda and I. We can go up there and talk forever, but they want to hear from each other, right? They have great ideas. They have great things they're doing in their classroom. So we started small this year. So for example, Kathy Gregori was here earlier. She did a little class, 30-minute class on sea glassing, right? So next year she's going to do something else, right? So we just want to do something they liked, a topic, and teach other people. We had another teacher teach Japanese to the class. Teachers. So teachers can sign up. We had baking and things like that. So the goal for next year is really to change that, to still do fun things, but also to do more instructional strategies that they can really take and use into their classrooms. And then we had a literacy committee, which was great. They met monthly. They gave up a lot of their time to come up with PD strategies for our staff. It was very engaging. All the staff in our survey had shared, like, it was one of the best PDs they've ever had, because it was ongoing. It wasn't just one quick thing. And then our grade level and vertical leaders, really, Lynn and I have really, they have really stepped up. So it's not top down. They're the ones leading the change in our school. And then one thing that Broderick talked about is ruler. That's one thing we're moving towards too for next year. Definitely, I think in the meeting in fall, we talked about the mood meter when I was here, right? So just talking about how we're feeling, how does that change, right? If I'm really excited, right? But I need to set, what strategies do I need to change in coming up with different, oh my gosh, not mood meter, sorry, different strategies to help students come up and change, and also with just not the mood meter.
Meta moment?
Meta moment, thank you. So having a meta moment, I had one. So reset yourself, right? So, and get in a right spot. And then there's our softball team too that went undefeated 3-0. So there's 13 girls. They were amazing. So they were a great group. So any questions?
I have one question, but I think it's more for Deirdre than you.
Okay.
Deirdre, the chronic absenteeism that they talked about with special ed, is that kind of across the board for most school districts? Is it
At the state level, the target goal is 20%. So we're running, I just did the comparisons across the state. And so the state is about 26% chronic absenteeism for special ed. It is a statewide issue. Yeah.
Another question, when do the SBAC scores come in? Is that like?
So this is great news. So we have a draft, right? So this is how, can I share? No.
It's not public.
Yeah, public.
So you could share trends.
All right. So there's a good trend. So
Stop recording.
oh, just joking. Everybody close your ears. No, so the trend is we're doing, so one thing for we made we made an incentive for the students. If they made 60% proficiency school-wide, they could duct tape myself to the wall. If they made it in 2 areas, they could duct tape Linda to the wall. If they made 3 areas, we'd celebrate everything. Like, I don't know, we'd get an ice cream truck in the school or something. I don't know. We figure that out. But so right now the trend is one grade level has 60% in math and reading. So on Monday,
Nothing's finalized.
not finalized. It's still a draft. It keeps going up and down. So Monday, they're leaving, we want to celebrate. So Monday, I'm letting the students, we bought 25 rolls of duct tape. They're going to duct tape me, 7th grade. Students are going to duct tape me to the wall. So hopefully 25 rolls of duct tape is enough.
I don't think so.
I did the math. I was like trying to Google it and see if Google would let me know. Like I put my weight in there and see what, we got the extra strength duct tape. So
Which wall are you being?
I don't know. I have to talk to the custodian, see which wall private that's the for me.
Are they gonna put you on a and then?
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah, and then hopefully, yeah.
It's very scary when the stool gets moved.
Yeah.
I will videotape it and hope for the best. Please don't fall.
I may or may not.
Make it, yeah, school or not school. Just asking for a friend. But we do appreciate all the work you've done here before that.
Is there a time for the duct taping?
It's gonna be, what time's your lunch on Monday?
Michael Block.
I was thinking Brian needs to call.
Well, I'm gonna start.
Well,
I'm probably 3 o'clock until somebody gets me down.
I'm gonna keep. Okay, you guys. All right. So as you'll see with the high school presentation, we have a lot of vertical alignment in our schools. You'll see a lot of similar themes with MTSS, attendance, the initiatives. So which is really promising for the district. So like if kids are getting it in Broadbrook, they're getting it at the middle school, and then they're going to also be getting it at the high school. Just like the other 2 buildings, we work off the strategic plan that you all set. And you'll see a lot of our academic, behavioral, and attendance data fall under goal 1, which is the portrait of the graduate. And then a lot of our access to equity data, all of those resources that we do to allow all students to be able to access all things, that comes in with goal 2. And then our goal 4 really talks about our community involvement and the ways that we outreach and bring community into the building. You'll see that throughout our presentation now, as well as how we hit goal 4. Also, we also link everything back to the portrait of the graduate, and everything we do at the high school, just like sounds like all the other schools, is around this thing called MTSS. And we have systems in our building around attendance, behavior, and academics. And through our presentation right now, you're going to see some data. We're going to give you a slide of overarching data for the school. And then the next slide will be a cohort that we highlighted that did particularly well in that area.
So speaking about MTSS and structures, MTSS really helped us develop those meeting structures. We have meeting structures in place that help us progress monitor using data. And that data communicated through the Post-it, through their 5 quick things that Mrs. Anderson sends out every Sunday. And that data really helps us develop tier 1, 2, or 3 strategies or plans to really address like academics, attendance, and behavior. And just right here, if you look at this, 3 years ago, our chronic absenteeism rate was at 31%. Last year and this year, we're at 19%. Of course, next year I want to do better. But we are working hard, just like the middle school and just like the elementary school, really trying to bring that chronic absenteeism down through incentives, through home visits, through one-on-one incentive plans, because we need our kids in school to learn. And as Mrs. Anderson said, we wanted to highlight some cohorts. So on this side, we have grade 9. Grade 9 attendance, thank you, middle school. You've set some really good patterns in place. 86% of them had 90 or were in school 90% or more of the time. And then 10% were 80 to 90, and 4% less were in school less than 80%. And then our grade 12, this is a 3-year comparison. 3 years ago, only 73% were in school 90% or more of the time. We got them up to 85. So it really working with our attendance team that meets weekly to really figure out why our kids are not coming to school, how do we support them to get them to come to school, and what we can do as a school just, to get our kids to keep coming. And then the same thing, again, we have a behavior team that meets weekly. Our goal is to really, decrease overall behaviors, but part of that goal is not just decreasing behaviors, but helping students understand their behaviors and work through their behaviors. So as a team, we've discussed ways in which we can help students identify, okay, what is my problem? How do I approach it? Where are the resources I need to turn to solve my problem? So this way, a behavior that's this big doesn't become a behavior that's that big. And if you take a look at this chart right here, the darkest line, we have been able to decrease overall behavior referrals in the last 3 years. Our reset room and our reset room supervisor has been instrumental. We have students now recognizing like, okay, I'm not in a good spot. I need someone to talk to. And he has been instrumental in helping have restorative conferences between students, really to help them work through those issues. So this way, again, that little behavior doesn't become something bigger and bigger in academics. And then if you look up here, this is class of 2028, grade 9 versus grade 10. So last year is in the green. School year 24 was in the green, school year 25 is in the red. Again, we see it just trending lower, and then grade 10 behavior overall. Again, we just see the behavior decreasing, again, helping those students obtain the skills necessary to work through any issues that they have.
As far as our academics, we have a school-wide goal of 80% grade level proficiency and 100% growth. That will still be our goal next year. And we will continue to have that goal until we reach that 80% proficiency. And we will do that before I leave East Windsor High School. You're going to get there. And what the ways we measure that is internally and externally. And one of our internal measures is the IXL system. It replaced the exact path that we had in previous years. And at one point we replaced something called My Path. So we've had a lot of iterations of this. And so IXL, we did it for the first time this year, and our fall diagnostic was not successful. We didn't implement it correctly. So we only have the winter to the spring to compare right now. And this is whole school progress, grades 9 through 11. The bottom bar is the winter testing, and the top bar is the spring. The blue chunk is kids that are above grade level. The green chunk is kids on grade level. The yellow is 1 grade below. The lighter pink is 2 grades below, and the darker color is 3 or more grades below. What we saw here for the whole school is that we moved from kids on and at grade level from 26% to 36%. And we saw the red band decrease from 58% to 43% in reading and writing. So that was for the whole school in reading and writing. In math, we had some growth as well. Same bar distribution as far as blue being above, green being on, yellow being 1 below, 2 below, and more than 2 below. We saw that we went from 15% of on and above grade level to 20% in math as a school, and from 58, and that red bar decreased from 55% from 58% to 55%. Our cohort highlight is that grade 9 that we were talking about. And one of the things that was referenced was Mr. Maltese tonight when he got the award. He's our grade 9 math teacher. We also are seeing the impact of the middle school and Broadbrook's work that they're doing with students as they're coming more ready to the high school to do what we need them to do. And so the bottom bar, this bottom bar right here is reading. This is just grade 9 cohort. This is their reading and writing in the winter, reading and writing in spring, math in winter, math in spring. And what you can see here is that the 9th graders went from 38% on or above to 48% in reading and writing. And if you can look closely, you can see that this bar right here, the blue one, we went from 33% above grade level to 42% above grade level. So that was a huge gain. And then as far as in math, we went from 30% to 35 on and above, but you can see we took these kids in the green and moved them into the blue. So we're seeing some small growths in the red. So we know we have to do a lot more with this over here, but we are seeing that we are teaching to the high, and we're moving the high as well as attempting to move the low.
So the percent that are a grade 2, 3 below, are all those kids getting interventions? And explain.
They are in some of them. They're getting intervention. A lot of them are getting intervention within the classroom. Some are getting pulled out for intervention as well. Yep. Not all of them, though. Well, one of our, you'll see, one of our goals for next year is intervention. And one of the things about intervention is we want to teach our teachers to do tier 2 and the tier 1 classroom, because we don't have enough resources to intervene with all of that. So some of the stuff that elementary school teachers are really good at is doing small group instruction in their tier 1 classrooms. Secondary educators, we weren't trained to do that. So we're going to try to build off of what the elementary school teachers can teach us and the middle school teachers can teach us and bring that to the high school. So like if I have like a whole classroom of math students and I have this small group that needs to work on a skill, the teacher can go pull that small group within the classroom while the rest of the class continues on with on grade level instruction. So we're going to work on that next year.
Because that are not getting intervention. Or they just, so you said some of them are, some of them aren't.
So,
We
well,
know
it's
they're
a
behind.
scheduling situation too in the high school, because you also have to earn credits. And so we can't pull you out for intervention, and then you don't have enough credits to graduate. So it's kind of like this game we have to play where we determine like where we're going to pull. So we did run an intervention this year. It was called ASE, and we backed that up to chorus and the chorus so that we could pull kids from chorus and have them be in intervention, but still earn the chorus credit at the same time. So like games like that, we're trying to figure out how to play so that we can have more students access the intervention. So.
And what are the tutors follows the whole program here?
So the math tutor, that we have a math tutor right now,
Yeah.
that we have one math tutor for the whole school. We don't have any other tutors in any other spots. So we have paraprofessionals for special ed population, but for not all of this red is special ed. So so that's why we really want to get our tier 1 teachers to be able to apply the intervention, since we don't have the resource to help pull all that. We do a reading interventionist and she pulls quite a few people, but tier 2 and tier 1, you want to do 3 to 4 students twice a week, and so that's like we schedule as many as we can into those things.
Yeah, I don't doubt that you're
No,
trying to figure
no,
it out.
no, don't worry.
It just is concerning to me, and I feel like
Yeah,
it's still concerning.
Yeah.
And it's not for lack of, I think, trying and ever. I know that it's way more complicated than I could ever probably understand, but it's still concerning.
no, yeah. I mean, we're not like jumping up and down over this. And we definitely, but we are moving in the right direction, and we're trying to keep going with the momentum we have for some of the programs we're doing to kind of move some of that red into those other areas.
Yes. Do any of those kids willing to do, like, I know, like, there's tutoring, like, I know some of the kids will stay and tutor other kids, or like, I know, like, teachers or most of them will stay after and stuff like that. Are those kids, like, maybe not as willing to do those things then?
But sometimes it's challenging to get a 16-year-old that can maybe go or stay after school to work on their reading skills. And sometimes it's hard too to like find the motivation strategy to get them to work.
Yeah.
Like we want to, for some of the kids that are falling in that red bar, honestly, I don't think they're red. I don't think they try on the diagnostics. And one of the things we talked about in our SAT and PSAT data is at junior year, you kind of figure out what your path is. You kind of know, like, am I going to be going into a trade? Am I going to do vocational? So maybe when we do the universal SAT as our test, they don't really care because they know they're not going to college. They've already made that decision. So it's kind of like trying to motivate them. And we do like a ton of incentive things, but they're not jacked up and excited about getting a wizard hat, like it's like hard. It's hard. I wish they were.
Tim wanted them.
Yeah.
So some of the teachers say, like, I know, because the teachers are in the classrooms and they're teaching them, and like, if they're doing better in the classroom with stuff, like, are those conversations too that, like, you guys are having, obviously, with them, like, this is what it's showing, is this kid struggling like that? Like, in the classroom?
Yeah. There are some kids too, like, we definitely like know, like, also our kids know how to game the system. Okay. So we have some students in that red that know that it's going to put on an action path. It's going to count for homework. So if I grade at 2nd grade level, my homework assignments are going to be a lot easier. But then you reset it and you try to make them take it again. And so it's just a lot of that stuff too. So it's as real as we think we can get it, but there are a lot of gaming going on. Right? Maybe onto something.
I got above it, so.
I'm in the 6th year program at Springfield College. Why are you talking to me right now? All right.
He's looking at that wizard hat though.
Okay, so am I on the right slide? Yeah. All right. So as far as, no, I'm not. Yes, I am. Okay, so as far as this is from College Board. So College Board says percentage of college and career ready. And they do it based on if you reach benchmark on the SAT, and they take the whole school, and this is our last 4 years of data. So you can see in 2023, the black bar is math, the yellow bar is reading and writing. So we are trending in the right direction as far as our whole school hitting benchmark. In reading and writing right now, we're at like around 53%. And in math, we're around 30% as a whole school. And that's up from back in 2023, we were at 48% for reading and writing, and we were at 24% in math. So we are moving in the right direction. Of course, we'd like to speed this a little bit faster, but we are going in the right direction.
Is the benchmark for that also 80%? The aggregate benchmark for all grades? For college and career readiness?
So the way the College Board sets it up is they just say that if you get like a 530 on the math and a 480 on the 530 to 480 on the reading and writing, you've hit benchmark. And then we just compare it against the state. They don't really tell you what they think is
What they're aiming?
yeah.
So this is basically just the total percentage of students across all 4 grades that hit that
Benchmark for their grade. Yep. And so yeah, we're trending in the right direction. And then I can show you for the cohort highlight. No, I'm not fancy, Tim.
Very good. Let's try it now.
Oh, try again. Oh, okay. As far as growth too, I want to show you this, like if the yellow bar right here is 1 year's worth of growth for each grade level, the darker yellow bar is 2 years worth of growth and how many points they've gained on the SAT. So you can see our grade 10 cohort in 2 years that we've had them, they've gone from, they average a 60-point gain on their SAT scores in the 2 years we've had them. The 11th grade for the last 2 years of data, they're in the 30-point range. And as a whole school, if we average them all out, the whole school is around 30 points of trending and growing. So although we have this big red band, the red band is moving higher. It's moving up. And that's in reading and writing. And this is in math. You can see math's even doing a little bit better as far as moving higher, which is good because we're lower in math. So we want to make more gains. And so you can see same distribution, 1 year's worth of growth versus 2 years worth of growth. And you can see that our seniors were over 40 points of growth for the past 2 years. Our 9th graders made huge gains with 1 year's worth of growth. And then I was talked about the intervention, the bars right here on this side. This is the students that were in math intervention compared to their peers that were not in intervention. So that you could see that they grew higher. Their 2 years of growth was more than the whole cohort if they were in intervention. Same thing with ELA. So the intervention that we started last year is working as far as like getting those kids to move.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep doing that more and more next year. So our cohort highlight is the 9th grade. So on this left bar right here is how we did. So green is making benchmark, yellow is approaching, and red is not meeting. And the one on this right here is how the state of Connecticut did. And you can see that the 9th grade cohort outperformed the state of Connecticut in reading and writing and in math on the PSAT this year. So we're pretty proud of that. We're excited about that. And so we're going to definitely celebrate that next year with our 9th graders and our 10th graders. As far as access goes, I talked about goal 2. We had a FAFSA initiative where we tried to get families into the 2 workshops and do FAFSA workshops. And we had a senior signing day. And you can see that the light bar was last year's class and the darker bar is this year's class. And we had almost 80% of our students get a FAFSA done, which allowed them more access to secondary schools, which is really, really good. Right now, as far as like the exit surveys from the seniors, 87% of our senior class is going to 2 or 4 year college next year. So that's great. So, and a lot of them are going for free because if you filled out your FAFSA, you can go to CT State for no money at all. So that was really a huge access barrier that we're trying to overcome for our students and their families. Also, we tried to do some more scholarship support this year. You can see this is last year, the number of students who filled out the common application was 11. This year we had 31 students fill out the common application. So we gave more students the opportunity to earn money. You can see 19 students earned money and 35 this year. So that's a huge gain. The reason there's more students than applications is some kids went out and found another source to do what they didn't just use our common. And you can see we gave out a little bit more money this year. So we're opening more access again to students and we're helping support them. And the donors were excited this year. They even said like they were so excited to have quality applicants. They had way more quality applicants this year. And they like the forms and the essays and all the stuff was filled out much better. And so we're going to continue to like help support our families and our students in filling out that paperwork.
Is that guidance involved too?
Yep, that was guidance.
Okay, so we continue to work on our pathways programming. We have 6 pathways overall: construction, hospitality, tourism, transportation, education, public service safety, and business. And we are always looking for job shadow opportunities, any opportunity we have. And really, we always are looking at our curriculum and the courses we offer. So thank you, Curriculum Council, for supporting the courses. This is just an example of the business management and enterprise marketing and sales pathway program. The different courses that really have just come on in recent years, like Business Concepts 1 and 2, Intro Marketing, Sports Marketing, have been really, really helpful for our students to get the knowledge they need in their, in the career they're pursuing, the pathway they're pursuing. This year, we really took on a lot more through our Pathway Advisory Board based on student interest and need. Last year, if you remember, we had a surveyor group, design professionals come in and do a half day kind of program. Well, that we just took off and we actually had a whole surveyor's day. So if you were in the fall at East Windsor High School, you saw a drone flying around. We had a consultant group from New York come in with design professionals, teach our students how to use a drone to map the terrain, to really look at the terrain. They were able to use what they call the old school equipment, as well as the new modern technology. And this is really just exposing students to a career field. The surveyor field is desperately looking for people. So we had about 30 kids participate that. We have a huge interest at the high school for law and public safety. So naturally with that, I'm going to have a day. So we did a law and public safety day. We had the fire department, police department, and emergency services department all come. They developed, it was great. They all had hands-on activities for our students to do. We had students using the fire hose, which actually was pretty comical. A lot of watering of the grass that day. So, but the kids absolutely loved it. And I'm happy to say, we talk about job shadow opportunities. This is the second year in a row that one of our students job shadowed at the Hartford Yard Goats. Very exciting. If you saw the post, Cooper King, our student, was there a couple weekends ago. Very exciting for him because Nesson was there, the network channel. So he really got to see broadcasting at that level. And he was funny. He said, "Oh, this is what you're supposed to talk about, not supposed to talk about." And he's but you can push it, not push it. And it was just very, very exciting. And we will plan on growing this program more and more and looking for those opportunities, whether it's a day, whether it's an opportunity with a business to have our kids get hands-on opportunities. We also have college and career planning. Every March we have Thinking About Your Future Week. School counseling department does a phenomenal job putting this week together. This week consists of about 6 field trips to different colleges and post-secondary options. This week also includes our PSAT, SAT day. And also guest speakers from different career fields. This year, we brought back the mock interview process. This was something that was kind of defunct for the last couple of years. And I really appreciate our Pathways Advisory Board, our community and business leaders helping us plan this. They came in, they kind of said, okay, this is what we can do. They actually volunteered their time to interview our students. So when you go to an interview, you don't know who the person sitting across for you. So they really had that experience. And we had our 10th and 11th graders do this. They were provided instant feedback of how they did, where they could, grow from. And the kids had a blast. They had, they didn't really know. They're like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. But they walked in like, wow, that was pretty cool. So they feel better if they're going to apply for a job.
I wanted to say that, so my son is a 10th grader this year for the, and it was perfect timing because he literally interviewed for a job with Parks and Recs, like over April vacation, and he pulled out his computer and we went over because they had the questions even there to practice with. So he literally practiced before he went in with me. And so I want to tell you that was great because it was perfect time for him and he got jobs. So it was but he felt more confident. He was able. We just did mock interviews at school. And
Yeah.
Well, so
And thank you for that. And why we chose 10th and 11th grade, because that's usually when they start going for those job interviews, right? It's given that opportunity, sure. Okay, so real life experiences. Oh boy, we had a lot this year. So we had a lot of curriculum-based field trips. First and foremost, Spain, a bunch of our students went to Spain. They went to the Royal Palace. They were having churros. They were meeting. I mean, look how happy they are. Tim, I think you're in that photo. Tim is in that photo. Tim, what do you think of Spain?
It was great. I loved it.
It was amazing, right? We're getting our kids to see the world. I know you guys heard about this great group of kids called Educator Rising. I'm excited because they joined our Pathway Advisory Board as members, student members of our Pathway Advisory Board. But our kids went to 2 conferences, one for CAS, one for CERC, presented, learned how to make lessons, and just really started networking. I'm really proud of this group. They're wonderful. And then Model UN went. And they actually had a great opportunity. Just give me a second. I'm a little bit trying to move this here. They worked with the Romania delegation, so they were able to meet the UN ambassador from Romania. 2 students worked on international trade, and another couple students worked on protecting international water. So they were work on these bills, if you will, and simulations, and they were able to meet with the ambassador from Romania and speak with them directly. And then for community service and outreach, I'm still up here. Yep. So one of my favorite events that started 3 years ago is the annual basketball game between the police department and students. We'll win next year, but it was a great turnout as usual. It was a great, and it all went to the Parks and Rec scholarship. We had our National Honor Society host their annual Easter egg hunt. And our mentors, as you heard from Mrs. Fox and Mr. Ryan, came down and we had our Read Across America Day. Again, our students love these experiences, and really look forward to them.
We also had a great year in our performing arts, just like the other schools have talked. Our band, our music program is exploding right now. We had a lot of cool field trips, very many concerts. They were all amazing concerts. We had a drama production, as you know, and we got recognition for that. Like the band, just like the middle school, the band received a gold adjudication, and the chorus, that small chorus right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I see a sibling in there of 7. 7 students got the platinum rating on the course. And the high school's never gotten the platinum as well. So that was very exciting for them. And they were super excited. I was in a meeting with someone and Jana came running in, literally opened her. She's like, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this, but we just got platinum. I said, okay. And then she shut her and let her down. So that was that. So she was very excited about that. Our visual arts program is also expanding. We've worked a lot with the community. There had monthly art showcases now at the library. We also have partnerships with the community art group that the seniors did their annual graduation boards again this year. We also have you walk down the W wing. So if you come to graduation tomorrow night, take a look down the W wing. You have all the AP art students are up there. Also the 2D, the photographer 2 students art is up there. We highlighted artist of the month. And one of our AP art students made these beautiful shirts. These are for the seniors, and it's a panther. And the freshman year colors green, the sophomore year colors red, the junior year colors blue, and the senior year colors red. That's also why I use blue, green, red, and yellow on my charts. But anyways, so that's kind of how we kind of expanded our visual arts program. And then also our athletics, continuing the community outreach with the basketball game. We had some real successes in that area. We have 2 students continuing on with their athletics in college next year. They're both going to perform on track teams, Evan and Kaylee. And then we have Micah there, who was a Class M state finalist. He's a freshman in wrestling. And so we have big things for him. He's going to win the Open for sure. And then we have a lot of students that got all conference in their respective sports. So we really have individuals really expanding their talents in the sports program. And we of course have our annual sports banquet. And our
I
plan
have a question.
yeah,
How did our pole vaulter do?
I don't remember. Do you know who we did?
I think came in 4th.
Yeah.
4th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just started.
He just started.
like last year.
Yeah. He's here tonight. His brother got the outstanding.
His younger brother got hardcore too.
He's going to UHart for art. And then he's doing well. Yeah. Planning for next year, our process for doing that as we talk to our committees, our MTSS team, our ILT, our instructional leadership team and our safe school team. We did a rubric, assessment of how we're doing with an MTSS rubric with our leadership team. We surveyed the staff, we surveyed the students, and we looked at our overarching data. And so we really think we've made a really good plan for next year. We're adding a 4th team to our school-wide teams. We're adding a literacy team to the school. So now we'll have our instructional leadership team that will focus on our instructional commitments and look at our walkthrough data and how we're impacting tier 1 instruction in our classroom. We'll still have our MTSS school team. We'll have our safe school climate team that will really focus on the SEL curriculum, the rulers curriculum that you've already heard about from the other 2 schools. And now we're going to have a literacy team that's going to take some of the science and reading stuff that we've learned from Broadbrook in the middle school and bring that into the high school to help improve our reading scores. Our core initiative next year, our progress monitoring, everything's going to be under progress monitoring. We're going to try to take the things that work with the MTSS team and now make it a whole school. So let's all look at what we're doing in our classrooms. Let's monitor what we're doing and look at the data of what's going on in our classroom and then intervene in our classroom where we need to. So if we have a pocket of students that isn't performing where we want them to within our classroom, how are we going to now fix that? So that's one of the things we want to do next year. We're going to stick with our instructional commitments. We're going to add a literacy focus. Building off what the middle school has done with vocabulary, we're going to continue that trend at the high school. So we're going to kind of use some of this common language that the middle school is using and the science of reading modules that they use. We're going to now implement those at the high school, the ruler SEL curriculum, and then once again, the intervention stuff that I talked to you earlier today about continuing with that work. Ryan?
No, I'm really just proud of what you guys have done. I know it's.
You say that. It's like,
Hey, I'm a ringer then. No, it's just, you guys have the hardest group to teach and you're making progress and thank you.
So my understanding that the earlier grades are feeding you more students that have progressed more so that it's going to help improve
absolutely.
the high school.
You can see
So you're seeing.
you can see it 100%. I mean, the 9th grade cohort this year is a dream. They were just a dream of a cohort. But they have their challenges too, but their challenges are very, very manageable. Like it's a lot. They're just more ready for school.
They're coming in.
Yeah,
more-
they know they have to come to school every day. The attendance thing is not a big issue as much anymore. Behavior, behavior's behavior. It's gonna have pockets. It's gonna raise its little head every once in a while.
Yeah.
But academically, I think they are much stronger. You look at that 9th grade data and it really is carrying school right now. So I think, I do think we're making huge gains and it's from a lot of the work that the Broadbrook School and the middle school are doing. So hopefully we can continue the trend. So. Good job, guys. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to both in that transition. I mean, you're learning from the middle's gonna,
And
that's a big, that has a big impact.
I just want to say that when I started 5 years ago, there was absolute need for improvement. And as it started here, where it needed to, we have progressed so much farther than I thought we would in 5 years. You've all done an outstanding job. I mean, everybody knew that it needed to be revamped dramatically, that our teachers needed to be retaught. And they're little children. That's the product we're working with. They can't fix like that. But we have made sustained progress from the youngest children, and now it's getting to the high school in a much faster time than I thought that we would do it. So kudos to all of you for everything you've done.
I agree. Actually, when we started, Noreen and I started at the same time. As did our superintendent. And he didn't have great information for us back then. It was really not always happy news, but he said, and I was just telling somebody this the other day, he said, I have a plan. You're going to have to stick with it. It's not always going to be easy or go well, but we're gonna stick with it and it's a plan and it will succeed. So absolutely kudos to you all and Patrick as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the way you take care of my kids. Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
Those are fun. I don't know the rest of you guys.
You know, there's an applaud for the other two schools. Know who supports you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's Mr. Saturday detention.
We applauded verbally.
You're still waiting for your speech. You want to hear it.
Thank you all for that. I know it's it makes for a long meeting, but I find it so interesting. So we're on to the superintendent's report.
Yes, I have a few updates. So our teacher of the year was announced this morning. We did post it on, social media. It's Amy Wise, fourth grade, teacher, was recognized in front of her class with her family, district and school administration. I can tell you she's been an outstanding practitioner, for a number of years now, well deserving, and her love for kids is evident in every day of them.
The video was
video.
awesome.
Isn't
The
it?
video was.
On Facebook, they made a big
Facebook.
post and she was just, it's really pretty with.
Thank you, Tim, for speaking on the walk earlier. So I did have an update on that, and we will we'll have that as a future social media post as well too. But that was very nice as well. I did send it in email along with the packet, but Daryl and I did recently participate in podcasts hosted by Focus Schools to speak on the topic, how central office leadership can support building-based leadership and teaching and learning. So that recording is out. Focus Schools will also be hosting. Did they already meet with the three principals, or that's
Monday.
Monday? So that's scheduled Tuesday. So they'll be meeting with our three principals, to do a podcast, discussing the important work taking place in each of their schools, to improve the daily teaching and learning, focusing really on the actions they just saw, that they highlighted in their presentations. And they will also speak about the alignment and cohesion, across the buildings.
How did that podcast happen? I mean,
So they've done consultant work in our schools over the last few years, primarily focusing on our instructional teacher leadership work, but they also provide consultation services across school districts across the country. And they approached us to highlight the work because they felt like what we're doing is very unique. So certainly feel privileged. Yeah, so that's all that took place. Laura this week had an interesting outreach from a community member, Patricia Sullivan, with an exciting opportunity for our students to help name the two eaglets currently living at Bell Pond. So they're reportedly 9 weeks old, and updates can be found on the Broadbrook Bald Eagles Facebook page, which I will say I have gone on since. And it does feature many wonderful photos and videos of the Eagles and their young. So one of our classroom programs, which has spent the last 2 years closely following Jackie and Shadow, the famous bald eagles of Big Bear, California, and their eaglets, took this opportunity very seriously. And after careful consideration of 7 different pairs of names, they narrowed it down to 2 finalists, and was informed today that it's Millie and Yoshi were selected. So we appreciate the outreach from the community member, and our kids enjoyed it very much. So that just took place this week. So that's really it for updates.
Thank you. So we have old business, 2027 budget is the first item. And I don't know if who had time to read the email that I sent. I didn't send it till like 3 o'clock this afternoon. But I would like, I know that the administrative team has been been working hard on trying to figure out what we're going to do for our budget. But since the final decision was just last night, certainly we can't expect them to have it all together. And I think it's important for them to have some feedback from us as to what priorities are or ideas that we might have. And I usually start at the far end, but I'm gonna start and go this way this time. Noreen, if you would start with your thoughts on where we should head with the budget, or
This would be helpful for me to summarize the finance subcommittee, like.
oh yeah,
Go fund me.
that's a good. Over a little bit of what the finance committee talked about earlier.
Oh, okay.
So we could do that first.
Yeah, so the budget freeze that we implemented has helped with the end of the year. As we've stated, really just will go into the 2% and help offset next school year. To date, we have currently reduced the budget by 4 salaries. So that was already done. That's where we are. Then just based on end of the year financials, and I want to stress very, very preliminary salary adjustments with incoming replacement new staff. So staff we know that are leaving, we're hiring those new staff. Those are working to our benefit and open enrollment. We do not anticipate any further reductions to staff contingent. I want to stress contingent, that the $226 $1,764 of state educational supplemental funding is applied in addition to the 2% and not as an offset. So if it's applied as a reduction to the mill rate, then we're likely looking at additional staff reduction. So certainly Monday's Board of Finance meeting is very important to understand where we truly stand financially with that supplemental state educational funding.
Do we know, just from the meeting, like, they didn't seem to have an answer at all. Like, do we know what their progress is in learning how that money's, like, are we expecting them to know that at the June 15th meeting?
I would expect, impress upon that we need to know where they stand, because obviously it impacts our decisions going forward.
Yeah.
I will say, like from the Board of Finance, that leadership did say after the meeting, they felt that money should go to the Board of Education, and seemed to indicate they'd be willing to take a vote if that was necessary. Now that was one member, obviously not representing the entire group, but that was positive.
And I think we need to ask for a definite answer one way or the other. We can't continue down this path of planning unless we know.
Isn't that it's outside legislation and it's not coming from the town, from a tax thing? It seems to me that it's additional, but what do I know?
They have no option but to do it on Monday. They have to set the mill rate by the end of day June 15th. So this situation's got to be resolved Monday night.
And where they're putting that money will make a difference, and they have to then have the tax bills go out, so they don't have time to wait after that. They have to.
That decision, I'm sure will be done. You know,
Between hopes and
yeah, and I think, I mean, they're talking to attorneys about this, I think as well.
So aside from GoFundMe, any other ideas or priorities, or definitely don't do this, or
You don't want to. I don't want to cut staff, period. I don't want to cut any staff if we can avoid it. And knowing the number would be very helpful in figuring it out. But unfortunately, we're kind of stuck in Monday evening. And truthfully, I'd like to hear what everybody else says. I spend so much time on this and trying to back in the know. I mean, literally, I spreadsheets that will never coming out of my ears trying to figure out if they go that way, what's it gonna do over here, what's it gonna do there. So, kind of confused, but priority is to keep the teachers where they are to the best of our ability. For me, we've spent a lot of time training everybody. We've spent a lot of time getting this stuff going. And it's a priority for me.
Well, I agree with Noreen that it's a priority, but I've been giving some thought to, I don't know. Could we approach local businesses and ask them to sponsor a grade? Could we, various grade booster clubs? You know, we got a booster club for sports, a robust booster club for music. I mean, I realize with the lack of people going to the polls, and I'm sure there's going to be a lack of folks interested in running these things, but I'm just trying to consider possible additional revenue sources that we would be able to offset some of this shortfall with. That's my piece.
I mean, again, I think it's hard without knowing what's actually gonna be happening with that money, which it needs to be stated, I fully think, I don't understand how it could go any other way besides coming to education. But with that being said, I would agree with Noreen that I would obviously like to keep staff in place. I also have full confidence that Patrick and Ryan will be, what do you call it? Squeezing the pennies.
Making a penny scream. All those pennies are gonna be screaming so loud.
Yeah, I mean, our school, all the needs, they're set, we need everything. Don't have, I mean, I'm still ticked off. Gary, I'm with you. Courtney.
I mean, first, I really have a lot of faith in Brian and Patrick to make the decisions that need to be made, really do believe them. I think after tonight and hearing a lot of information tonight, I would especially want the high school to make sure that it has the tutors that we can afford and the intervention and specialists that we can afford there, because obviously it's definitely needed there still, and that's not needed everywhere, but I think that would be a big priority for me, is definitely keeping that stuff in place there. Anything else? Sure, but I don't know. I mean, we need everything. So it is what it is. It's not an easy decision and things that we got, and I don't want to be the one to make all those decisions either, because it's not easy decisions to make, you know, but hopefully it will work out. I'm being positive. Money's coming to us, and
Betsy. Yeah, I think, my priority, if we're looking at right now, and again, like I said, everything's up in the air, but my priority is to maintain classroom teachers in teaching positions. That would be a priority for me, overall, in terms of what's happening, particularly, it's even if for a year we have to maintain what we have and just kind of sustain what we have for a year. I really believe that those classroom instruction is really a key for me.
Abby.
I don't even know. I mean, just like, I completely agree with everyone else. I think in the email that you had sent out earlier, you said the projection would be a reduction in about $78,000 that we'd be looking at.
That's what we lost last night.
Yeah, so
So assuming that, and that's assuming that we're able to retain the 260 some odd dollars, right?
no, so that's kind of like, that's where we are right now. So like that 77 plus thousand has already been
It's,
reduced. So like
So
the
it's-
summary I gave, we're already there.
so
So.
you're saying it could potentially go up by a further reduction of. the
So like,
200?
like based on where we are, like we can maintain what we have, assuming that we have the 226. But if we don't have the 226, then we have to reduce by that amount.
By the 7.
26.
By, okay. So, okay. I mean, yeah, I think ideally I would like to see us maintain the services that we have, but I don't even know, other than staff positions, like I don't even know what line items we could cut from that would hit that 226 number. I would hate to see a reduction in staff. And Patrick, I don't know if you have this answer yet. Would that be a reduction in like instructional faculty, like your regular like teachers, or would that be more support staff that you're?
Yeah, I
looking
wouldn't be comfortable speaking to that because I would speak with those individuals first
Okay.
if they were being considered.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any other line items that we could reduce from. I don't know. I mean, I'm just looking at like miscellaneous things, like I feel like everything that we have in here is already like the bare minimum, so it's hard to say like where we could even cut from. I feel like in the past, technology has always been one that we've pulled from, and that's kind of that we've had to sacrifice. I don't know if that's something we could continue to chip away at moving forward, or if that's like an absolute necessity. Again, in normal times would not advocate for that, but I don't know if there's any room there. I just don't know. Can you also clarify, I mean, I'm just looking at the budget that you had presented to us earlier this year. What is it? I just lost where it was. Instructional supplies. So what's the difference between the school-based instructional supplies line items versus the district instructional supplies?
I can speak to that for school-based first.
So it
District
looks like
instructionals.
there's separate line items for like instructional supplies under each school. And then there's another line item for the district.
The district-wide one is typically connected to like curriculum purchases.
Okay.
You'll see there's general supplies in there as well. So usually general supplies is more of like, not paper, not notebooks, not test materials. It'd be, facilities, for example, it's, toilet paper, paper towels,
Yeah.
things like that. Things not related directly to instruction.
Okay.
But as far as the supplies go, I know we pretty much exhausted every avenue there. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to get us 226,000, unfortunately.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure because I know it's been said in the past and recently that the Board of Ed has to have a say in what cuts are made. And I've heard publicly from people that, there are other priorities that they think the public thinks are, possible savings. Administration is always one. Bill Lowe's will always say, I only had one principal. Why do we need two? Why do we have to have somebody that specializes in curriculum? We hear all that stuff. I want to be sure that if you all are hearing that and you're comfortable bringing that up, then we need to talk about it. But bring.
I have two things to say.
Mhm.
First, with respect to the public understanding.
That's here today.
And not to be nasty or anything, but when 1,000 people come out to vote on the budget, and then you see all these naysayers on Facebook
Yeah.
kibitzing, and they're putting out weird and wacky things that people don't understand, but they just sound good. I don't get people coming up to talk to me much.
Yeah.
I meet a lot of parents. I don't.
Well, I've been sitting at the polls for 3 referendums, so those 1,000 people are.
You have better access to that than I, but,
And trust me, I'm an advocate for everything that we're doing here.
yeah, no, I know that. And I just wanted to get it on the record that I think that every person that we are currently employing is responsible for all of that Daryl for coming up with ideas and getting out, and all of you people for implementing all of that stuff. Our kids are getting a far better education now than they were 5, 10 years ago. And I thank you all very much, and I think that you are all necessary. So if somebody says to me that we have too many vice principals, or, because I've heard that stupid one before.
Yeah, I mean, just to speak to that a little bit, because I actually had the opportunity to research that a little bit because that came up. I don't know if it was our last board meeting or our last board's finance subcommittee meeting. It did come up. And the meetings went together a little
Yeah.
bit. I will say, I went on Ed site because you can look at the data.
Yeah.
Now the data will go from like 25 to, like you pull it up for 24, 25, and some of the data will be from the previous school year and some will be from 23, 24. But if you look at our district wide and school, administrators on Ed site, our total is 10. And then if you look at our closest alliance districts, so alliance districts with similar needs, especially like when you look at our free and reduced lunch, you have Enfield, Windsor, Windsor Locks. They're all also alliance districts, are all bordering, obviously different sizes, but Enfield has 39, Windsor has over 30, and Windsor Locks has about 11. So you take Windsor Locks, their closest size. You start to look at some of their other resources a little bit more. They also have 7 more school counselors, social workers, and school psychologists. And I believe they also have an SRO at every single building. And then digging deeper in the data a little bit, our free and reduced lunch is the highest among all those districts. So even among the high needs districts, we have the highest need. Yeah, I mean, I know we saw the data, but we also have the lowest percent for chronic absenteeism. And we have the highest percentage of students on goal for smarter balance assessments for math and reading. So we're also performing at a higher level than those surrounding districts. And I can tell you, I just completed the evals for our building administrators. They're doing over 350 walkthroughs per year. That's not going to happen if you're reducing it. We're talking about the instructional work. That's not going to happen if you can't have targeted feedback coaching on best instructional practices. And then I know we looked at the work of our pathways, the revision work that takes place with our curriculum over summer. And let's not forget the traditional like responsibilities for school climate and discipline. Like that's going to drop. And then I dug a little deeper. I looked at East Granby. They're closest to us in distance and enrollment. They have actually less enrollment to us. They have about 9 administrators. So we have one more, but one of our administrators is fully grant funded. Oh, by the way, they do pay about 2,000 more per student of local tax money per pupil. So just to put it, I mean, if that narrative is out there, hopefully that gives you a little data comparison. As far as not just from the funding, the performance, but numbers. So I would strongly argue that like we have the appropriate amount.
Patrick, the other thing, and I've said this before too, when people talk about bigger school systems and what happens, and I know full well that you may have a big school system, but a big school system is difficult, of course, to manage. But you know what? A smaller school system has unique needs as well in terms of administration and providing services for kids on a different kind of a budget basis in terms of what we have. You still have to provide quality education. You still have a certain amount of students in a classroom. And so that rationale about, well, you're a small school system, you don't need all that, is quite frankly, I'm saying another word, but it's baloney. in terms of what I believe.
Well, I would give you another step of that is
Yes.
when they start quoting the per pupil to you, you have to turn the lights on in every building. You have to heat them, you have to have water, you have to have food, and all these things. There are fixed costs that, before you even open the door, all of these things need to be paid, and it's a small town. And then we've also had people say, well, you should combine with somebody else. Nobody wants us. And it's not like we have an act.
Well, they will pretty soon. They're gonna be wanting to come.
They're gonna be jealous that.
Exactly. Yeah. So for all of
We
those
have an
people who
app,
keep saying that you spend too much money on students, I think it's baloney.
Well, when you spend the money on the students, I think what it means is that students are getting, you know, that whole part of, you obviously talked, remember the parent that stood up at the last meeting? This was at the public
For the,
referendum, right?
transportation.
Yes, and she wasn't there to talk about her child. She stood up and talked about her child who had special needs and what the school system is doing for her child. Now, I think if that is a strategy, if we could get a parent every once in a while to just be there and say, I want you to know this about my children. We can sit up there and we can talk about things until the cows come home. They say, we heard from you before. But another parent being there every once in a while will make a big difference in what they have to consider and think about.
I also think that we need to put more of our successes, get them out more, and then we all make an effort to share that out to everywhere, because I'm sick and tired of hearing people saying that our reading and our kids that can't read and write and do math when they get out of here. That's ridiculous. And we need to promote ourselves better because we're far better than that. Far better. That's my own sense.
We're in a really difficult time because of our brand list debacle and things I think have gotten escalated too, because there are competing interests. And unfortunately, when things like this happen, there is a natural inclination to protect oneself or one side. And that has really reared its head this year. I've had people saying to me, what I'm hearing, that you have all this money in this special fund and blah, 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 which is our 2% fund. And I've explained to those people that yes, there is money in this 2% fund. We utilize some of it. We are very, very prudent with it because we are in a different situation than, and the question was actually asked me, well, why doesn't the town side get that so they can do whatever they want? And I'm like, first of all, I'm not going to get into that with you, but I'm going to tell you our side. We have a 2% fund because the legislature realized that we have a massive special ed situation. That's why they created it, was because special ed is so unpredictable. Years ago, they realized we got to do something to help. We utilize that money very judiciously to ensure that we are reducing the tax burden as much as we can, because we are the highest percentage in town, because we are. But we cannot just take that money and just go spend it on whatever. We have to worry about if a special ed student moves in and needs outplacement, that we have $200,000 to cover it, because that might be what it costs. Because the only other way for us to get that money, and the person I had this conversation with was kind of like, oh, I didn't know that. I said, the only other way to get the money is for us to go to the Board of Finance and ask for an added appropriation, which is possible, which requires a town meeting. And what if it fails? They don't give us the money. We don't get the money. So then what we have to do is we have to go over back to wherever we have to go to come up with $200,000. And that means saying, okay, I use third grade as an example this year because my granddaughter. So we have to go in and say, guess what? Tomorrow you're all getting split up among the other 3 classes because we can't afford to pay for your teacher anymore. Because we have to do that. So we can't just don't have this pot of money that we're just willy-nilly going out and buying flowers or something with. We sit on the money and we use it as we have to. And we have to be very cognizant of what we're spending it on. It's not some random pot of money. And I don't think because of how things have gotten so difficult this year, there's a lot of that going on, and it's not healthy. And if anybody approaches anybody about those kinds of things, I think it's important for us to just stand firm in we have a very good grasp on our finances. We plan based on what our plan is, not pulling things out one day because we feel like it. That everything has been set up in a strategic plan. And we are best suited to make those decisions because we have the information. Not that we aren't hiding anything. You can have anything you want. And then the idea that the same person is like, yeah, but on Niche or test scores, like, oh my God, Niche is a for-profit marketing company. If we wanted to pay them, we have great scores because they'll do whatever you want. Don't go, but it perpetuates itself. And unfortunately, we're stuck there. But I think the people who get approached, we just need to kind of stand firm in, we have absolutely seen marked progress. There's no doubt that our kids are progressing. There's absolutely no doubt. When you look at a bar graph at the end of the year that says our first graders is only this much red, that much red. And back to the budget part of it. Once everything gets laid out and we know what's going on with this $227,000, and I am very, very not a person who wants to spend any more money than we have to out of that 2% fund. But if it comes down to a position that we need, Patrick, I might be willing to go and take a little more out of there than we had anticipated. And keep our finger crossed.
It's true. And go to the town.
And then if we gotta go to the GoFundMe route, maybe we do.
Golf tournament.
You know, I mean,
Well, I think with caution to the Board of Finance that we'll do that, but
Yeah.
please understand, now we don't have that reserve if we need it for special ed.
so.
And that being said, I'm not super hopeful about the budget for next year. Given that it's gonna be a reval year, and I think people are also going to be upset by the hit in taxes that they're gonna experience this upcoming year.
Well, reval will be the year after. The reval starts. The reval numbers will come out to follow 27.
That's what I'm
That's
saying,
it.
but they'll know their
No, but they
reval.
hit for the,
But they'll know what their value is and
Yeah.
they'll be projecting and they won't be happy.
There's always something.
Like it's
There's
very
always
expensive,
something.
like honestly, as a taxpayer and as a person, like it's just very expensive. So like I can understand in some way why people are not wanting to raise taxes more. And it's unfortunate because our costs always go up, but I do think it's probably going to be a trend with how expensive life has just gotten. And
I was gonna say, the economy itself,
it's
we're
a
not the
struggle.
only community that had
100%.
referendums that have failed.
A lot. I've seen.
Ellington, Summers, Windsor lots, all around us.
But I wish people could understand, and I wish people could understand if you read some of the research. Good school systems are one of the most positive things as far as economic development for a community. Good school systems bring business bring families, invest, and it's got to get better. It will get better, but it's got to get better. And good school systems provide that vehicle.
Okay, I think we've given you enough feedback.
Yes.
Brian's calling out tomorrow. No.
Be here very very-
If you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No,
No?
no, I mean, I feel like I have a solid understanding where we are. It's really just having the next piece of information on how to proceed and recommendations to bring forward to the board, but that's critical information to have that we'll have Monday night.
And I think you certainly have full support of the board in whatever sounds across the board. That we're all on board with what's happening for us.
I appreciate the trust. Thank you.
And that's you have the trust because you've proven, you and Daryl and Ryan and everybody that's here tonight. You make it easy to sell. We just have a tough customer that we gotta sell to. Okay, then we'll move on to the school renovation project.
You have a memo in your, packet. I mean, I don't,
Yeah,
I feel like it's a pretty good summary. If you had time to read it, it's kind of where we are right now. We have an ad hoc committee meeting next Thursday. And, I'd imagine, there'll be some, good discussion at that point.
You didn't need dinner.
yeah, so it'd be good for anybody that's interested in that to join in. Liaisons and subcommittees.
I don't remember.
You had no comments at the
I-
beginning of the last thing. You don't remember this one?
At the Board of Selectmen meeting, which is where they held the town meeting, the money was approved to get moved to us for the purchase of the van.
For one van, correct?
One. Anyone else? Okay. Public participation. Any miscellaneous?
Just had one, the, Joytown Rugby team, and those Olympic teams, is having their annual golf, fundraiser, so if anyone golf, they're looking for some, so if you need information, you may contact me, because I'm on the booster club for that as well.
When is it?
It's August 30th, it's a Sunday, that's actually gonna be, and it's in. It's St. Anne's, I don't know if you remember this.
Oh, St. Anne's up in Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's in Feeding Hill, Mass. So if anybody, they're looking for foursomes, it's gonna be fun, raffles, dinner, lunch, everything included, and always looking for sponsors and raffle prizes, but it's a good time.
Nobody else miscellaneous?
Not a miscellaneous update, but question. For the next ad hoc meeting, are the representatives going to be invited to that? Because I know that was something that we talked about last time.
CSG and, the Donovan Group.
Or the state reps?
State groups, legislators.
Yeah, I mean, I can invite them.
I personally feel strongly that that should happen. I think that there should be a conversation collectively between us and them. Just based off of what Jamie had reported to us last time, I feel like that was the biggest mishap in just the miscommunication that kind of fell apart throughout the process. So even if it's just they come to this meeting and then,
And
we
the senator as well.
if that, I don't know.
You have to recall only, Brett Foster only came to the Board of Ed, so the rest of the ad hoc committee is going, be catching up a little bit.
Which is why I think all of them should be there so that that conversation can happen amongst everyone that's involved in the process rather than just continuing to be siloed.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else feels the same way, and I know it's difficult to get them all on the same timeline to attend a meeting, but at least
Yeah.
just extending the invite out.
Did you say standing invite?
No, just maybe for the, I know that was also something that we had talked about.
I think we should do a standing invite, which would give them dates of every meeting, and if they care to pop in, they care to pop in. And if there is a meeting that has something that we think is particularly important that they attend, then we star it. But
You mean for the ad hoc committee?
yes,
Well, let me just say, it's not bad news to me, but I think this is the last meeting of this ad hoc committee
Right.
because it was an 18-month committee. So that has to be part of the discussion itself next week of what goes on after this. No, I mean, are they gonna extend it?
can we as a board start our own?
I think we need to have a, regroup. It's not.
I think the Board of Ed needs to regroup on what they're doing, but remember that we're in partnership with the town because they're the ones that would do the financing. So we can't just come to them with a fully done cake and say, okay, now you pay for it.
That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, can we yes, you guys have the pocketbook, so we're gonna invite you, so you'll be a part of it. But if it would be led by our side and not that side next time.
But it is led by us. I mean,
No, it hasn't been.
well, Denise has been the chair.
It's supposed to be.
I know the chair, but it's supposed to be shared.
But things are happening.
You go Board of Selectmen and Board of Ed. It was not a Board of Ed committee, you're right.
Mike?
Well, and we weren't really aware of what was happening, which was, became clear at our last meeting.
Certainly, there were things that,
Yes. I personally think, I'm not on ad hoc, but I think it needs to come back to us. I keep, not necessarily long-term, but I think we need to bring it back here and regroup and refocus and figure out where we're going with this. I keep going back to when we met at the South Windsor schools, with the superintendent of South Windsor. And they were not successful in their first go round with trying to get their plan done. And she was very clear about keep it in the school. When you start bringing in the outside factions, that's your
It'll fall
downfall
apart,
because they have competing interests. And when they brought it back just to the school, they were successful and they got their 10-year plan done with like 10 schools or something. And that makes logical sense. You have competing interests. You just naturally do. So, we do have to you have to involve the town at some point, but I think maybe we need to regroup and refocus as to where are we and whatnot.
so we have the ad hoc committee meeting next week. And I think after that meeting, maybe we as board have a discussion. We have the last meeting of this fiscal year, so that one might be kind of full, but the following one should be in July.
We could actually have we could have a plan, I was thinking about it down a little bit. In terms of, so a lot of times, I mean, kind of start like regrouping, as you said, pausing and then regrouping. Because I think those, somehow we have to involve the community in terms of the investment piece. And I'm talking about not financial investment, but investment in their, in their support. And, I'm just knowing what he was talking about. And what he was talking about was really kind of just continuing to try and have these conversations on an ongoing basis. And it's not through Facebook. It's just not going to happen. It's got to be more relational, I think.
So as I said today in the email about thinking about agenda items, jot down ideas that you have for that kind of discussion for our first July meeting. And, it'll be, and you'll get more information or ideas probably from the ad hoc meeting. And who knows what else is going to happen in the meantime, but, yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We have an executive session. We only have 10 minutes and I don't think it'll be enough. Because it's the superintendent's, evaluation, and Fran, you and I had said at the last meeting that we would write down everybody's ideas. Patrick, you did say you had the folders, correct?
I do. Yep.
So, we'll get those folders back again. I am freezing.
It just kind of kicked in.
72?
Sure, flow across. You're in it.
Yeah. Extend our meeting.
So, I would suggest that we move beyond 9:30. I think we can extend it beyond 9:30 without being specific as to 10 o'clock or 10:30 or whatever.
30 is not.
No, he's
So I think
to extend it. You don't have to give it.
Okay.
Well, I am saying that I'm not staying here until 10:30.
No, me neither.
So.
I'll make a motion to extend the meeting beyond 9:30.
So the motion's made by Fran, seconded by who? by Gabby.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Wait, we need to fly. I mean.
Oh, I'm sorry.
vote.
Sorry.
Fly. I won't fly out of here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now,
I'll make a motion to enter executive session to include Patrick Kudrin, superintendent of schools.
second. Made by Noreen, seconded by Courtney. Any discussion? Those in favor? You know, win.
I'm so jealous.